threat of disaster is never pleasant.
Welcome to the Casual Preppers podcast.
These safety measures are essential.
The only place for prepping, survival, and entertainment.
This will be your source of survival instructions and information. Every member of the family must be coached in the business of survival.
Here are your hosts, Cam and Kobe.
Boy, is it getting hot in here?
Oh, man, I'm freaking cooking.
Cameron, welcome to the podcast. Everybody else who's listening, welcome as well. Welcome to everybody. I just want to be really welcoming.
Welcome.
You know what I mean?
Welcome.
Cameron, can you tell us and the fine folks, who are listening, what are we talking about today? What's the deal?
I bet y'all are going through hot flashes right now, just like me and Kobe.
Menopause?
Yep.
Is that what we're talking
We're
about?
talking about menopause. It's just been super hot.
It has.
So everybody's saying, it's going to get hotter and hotter because the climate's changing.
Bill Nye keeps telling me.
Yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio. Who else?
Yep. So, and we went through a really, tough heat wave too early in the summer.
Yeah.
And so we figured, why don't we just talk about surviving climate change? Because
global
the
warming.
Earth does what it wants.
Yeah. We're just living here.
Yeah.
So, we're going to talk about that. It might be a little controversial because there's those people out there that are like, wait, no.
Yeah, I'd written in here just to piss people off. Global warming. Let's just pretend for a while this is a real problem.
Yeah. We're not gonna say either way.
Yeah.
We're just gonna talk about the hypothetical, right?
Yeah, I'm not smart enough to say either way.
No, I'm not smart enough to do any
I'm
of
going
this.
to drive
but
my
here we are.
fossil fuel burning truck
That's right.
to and from work, not worry about it even happening.
100%. Yep. Hey, Cam, I got to tell you something. There's this thing that I found out, and it's that most subscription boxes are full of samples and junk that you'll never use it, right? But now BattleBox, it's the monthly subscription box for men, full of solid gear for adventure seekers, survivalists, outdoor enthusiasts, and casual preppers. Each month, BattleBox sends you the coolest selection of handpicked outdoor survival and everyday carry gear, all valued at far more than what you'd normally pay. You never know what's in the next box, but here's a sampling of what users received this month. The Lord and Field leather duffel bag.
Mm-hmm. Did we get that?
We haven't yet. It's coming. It's on its way.
It sounds delightful.
I know. It sounds like it's something you got to put like your lance and mesh armor in or plate mail. Lord and Field duffel bag.
That sounds great.
The Fox Edge FE 520 fixed blade.
Nice.
Yeah, cut stuff. That's good. All this badassness starts at about $30 a month. They've shipped almost 1 million boxes and won Best Men's Subscription Box of 2017. Our listeners get a free knife when you sign up at trybattlebox.com/casualpreppers. That's trybattlebox.com/casualpreppers. Get your first battle box plus a free knife. Trybattlebox.com/casualpreppers.
Listener reviews starts now.
Cashew prepper.
And I don't know why I like to say casual preppers.
Cashew.
Yeah.
I like them, but not sure why. This mom of two.
Oh, it's a lady.
Yeah.
Hello, lady.
If you like to laugh and get useful information at the same time, this is the podcast for you.
Mm-hmm.
I like that they touch on touchy subjects,
Ooh, touchy.
yet don't make it political. I've unfollowed a few for ranting about why they hate this or that president.
Well, let me tell you why I hate presidents.
Yeah. I'm here for prepping, not politics, she says.
Boom.
They provide information for real-life people and not just for the rich.
For real.
They also make tough issues a little less hard to hear by providing... I cut it in a weird place.
No.
By providing some comic relief, yet keep it respectful.
Yeah, that might be... maybe it's respectful. It kind of depends on the day.
Ask my wife.
Yeah.
Probably not.
She doesn't like that.
She's always worried about, did you offend anybody today?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yes, I did.
That's what we do. Thank you so much for your review. If you guys want to be a part of
And tell your
this...
two kids hello.
Tell them, hey.
He's your mom too, right?
Mama too, yep. If you guys want to be a part of this portion of the podcast, go to iTunes, go to Facebook, go to the Kindle book on Amazon, leave us a 5-star review, and make it awesome. Dude.
It's a mad, mad world.
Since we're talking about heat waves, let's just kind of go with the mad, mad world. Down there in Texas, they got a lot of weird crap going on, especially with the power grid. They were kind of like, guys, it's getting really hot, and
once it's too cold, shuts down. Too hot, shuts down.
It's like, come on, they got to get their act together
Yeah.
down there. I don't know what's going on,
I think
but
they'd have made some improvements in the last
Yeah. So
failure.
Cam and I were sending stuff back and forth. This is one that Cam sent me. I don't know if this was the exact one, but it's one just like it. Texas's energy grid, which failed spectacularly over the winter during a stretch of historically cold weather.
Spectacular.
Yes. Will be put to the test again this weekend, as temperatures across much of the state are forecast to be in the upper 90s. That's hot. It's not cool. That's hot.
No.
Despite assurances from Governor Greg Abbott that everything that needed to be done was done to fix the power grid in Texas. Earlier this week,
A little bit of black tape, a few splices. We're up and
We
going.
got some canned air. We were blowing stuff off. Figured that ought to do her. You know,
Running everything through ice boxes.
we turned it off, turned it back on.
Just that's all they did. Oh, just reset the whole thing.
Yeah. The ERCOT, which is the Electricity Reliability Council of Texas, urged customers to adjust thermostats to 78 degrees or higher and cut back on electricity use for several days. 78 degrees
This
or higher.
part pissed me
My
off.
gosh, dude, I can't do it. No way that's happening in my house.
No.
But
I'd have to sleep in the bathtub.
Oh gosh, yeah, in cool
Full
water.
of ice water.
Yeah. Texas residents with smart thermostats are eligible for a number of programs, sweepstakes, and discounts, which effectively allow energy providers to adjust their thermostats remotely during periods of high energy demand. So I'll bet you they didn't know this.
I bet they didn't either.
Right?
But they should have read the fine print.
Exactly. Known as demand response programs, some Texans were taken by surprise this week as their thermostats were turned up without any action from them.
You know how many kids
my
got their
gosh.
asses chewed?
I told you guys not to touch that damn thermostat.
Who keeps turning it up?
My swass is getting real bad in here.
I just see this big panel of like, they're not at 98. They're not at 78.
Yeah.
78. But
my
man,
gosh.
that kind of creeps me out though.
Well,
of like agreeing to all this smart.
Yeah.
I love smart home stuff.
For sure.
But
It has its drawbacks.
I figured that radio station keeps popping up. Somebody else doing that.
I know. So anyways, if you got those smart thermostats and you're signing up for these government programs, just be aware. I mean, it's not... A lot of people are like, all you got to do is go turn it back up. You can just walk over and turn it back down, or however you want to say it.
Burns your hand.
But that's... Step away from the thermostat.
Not enough power.
Not enough power.
I just want to know, like, the power company in Texas, they're just like, I expect people to use maybe 70% of the power.
Yeah.
You know?
And
then
I
they're
don't
like,
get
oh,
it.
pissed, they're using a lot of power.
Why is everybody using so much power?
Back it off.
Yeah. So anyways, Mad World. Bro.
That one is crazy to me.
It is, man.
You might find this one pretty interesting. So, apparently this happened February 9th, but it was just recently reported. This happened in Tucson, or some say Tucson, Arizona.
Yeah.
And we all know some weird stuff can happen down there. Alien activity. Anyway, the executive summary version is that a drone nearly collided with a Customs and Border Control helicopter above Tucson.
Oh, geez.
The chopper then chased the craft. So they suspect was a drone, but listen to this. The chopper then chased the craft over a veering 70-mile course at speeds over 100 miles per hour.
What?
At altitudes up to 14,000 feet.
That's not a drone.
Yeah.
Well, not any drone.
That's what he's saying. During that run, escaping uncrewed aerial system UAS craft violated restricted airspace, including those of an Air Force base in Tucson's airport, and displayed maneuverability and power reserves far beyond that of a consumer drone. Of course.
Well, yeah.
The FBI was brought onto the case and continues searching for the craft and its pilot. Thus far, however, it appears little headway has been made toward illuminating that astonishing night flight. The cop copter joined the chase after CBD reported its near miss, like it just buzzed by him, and quickly made visual contact with the fleeing drone. They confirmed FBI descriptions of the craft having only a single green position light on the underbody, but was otherwise not a good... They didn't get a good enough look to estimate the basic size. What? Even with night vision goggles. This is what the pilot said. The UAS was very sophisticated, specialized, and able to perform like no other I've ever seen or observed. It began flying orbits around our aircraft as we tracked it up to an altitude of 12,000 feet.
Oh my gosh.
Its speed at times well in in excess of 100 miles per hour, and its flight path was obviously its flight path was obvious. The controller had clear sight of both the helicopter tracking it by the way it should orbit us and abruptly fly behind us and attempt to avoid visual contact.
Whoa, that's
So it was
crazy.
just like, and this was even in a headwind of 40 miles per hour.
Oh my gosh.
And so they thought that they would just outlast it until the batteries died.
Yeah.
But they ran out of gas sooner. They had to go back and refuel, and it just took off. It said the last time anyone saw it, it was flying in and out of the cloud base at 12,000 feet and then vanished altogether.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that insane?
That's
So either the tech is just unbelievable for
I
this
can't imagine
drone.
that tech, even with like DARPA and government agencies, having something like that is insane. Because usually, so there's like the Predator drone ones, but they're like humongous.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And they're not as agile
No,
as
they're
like a
definitely
regular,
not that agile.
This thing to like spin around a helicopter, go behind it to get out of visual.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm like, it's pretty amazing to hear the report.
So that report from the government is supposed to come out this week, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
pretty
from
sure
the
it's
one of
supposed-
all those-
Yeah, I think, but I haven't heard anything yet.
But
Weird.
anyways,
Weird
that
stuff,
one
man.
blew my mind because I've been like researching drone stuff
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I want to get into like some of the FPV drone, and that just sounded insane.
Yeah, that's
like
out
there's
of
no
this
drone
world.
that can do that.
No.
Either DJI is releasing the Mavic 3 soon, and
Yeah.
they've been testing it,
Yeah.
or that
Wow.
is not
Of
a
this
regular.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy, man.
Somebody with
Crazy.
a laser pointer. Where's that son of a bee?
Just like a
Anyway,
little cat.
I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it is cool. So let's talk about global warming, Cameron.
Okay.
Like you said, let's pretend. Let's
Let's
put
just
on our
pretend that the
hats.
Earth and
There's climate change. So we're gonna go off of what NASA and all these people say is going to happen if it continues as it is with climate change and global warming, and we're gonna talk about things like surviving in heat waves and in higher heat and all these things that may happen with climate
Yeah.
change because there's a lot of different things that go on. And it's super
Tons.
confusing.
Super hot, super cold.
Yeah, it's like everything.
Weird storms.
Yeah.
COVID.
Yeah.
Cancers,
Yeah.
AIDS,
Yeah.
everything.
So I thought quickly it'd be kind of cool to look back on one of the worst heat waves that we had in North America, and that was in 1936.
That's crazy. Is that long ago?
I know. See, you're thinking, well, if that's the worst heat
Probably
wave,
been last year, right?
it should have
That's
been.
what you would think.
Yeah. But the 1936 North American heat wave was one of the most severe heat waves in modern history in North America. It took place in the middle of the Great Depression and Dust Bowl of the 1930s, caused catastrophic human suffering and an enormous economic toll. So obviously, wasn't a great time to have a heat wave during the Great Depression.
Oh,
Right,
man.
and it just added to the issues that were going on, especially in the United States. The death toll from this exceeded 5,000 people. This was just from the heat wave.
Wow.
A huge number of crops were destroyed by the heat and lack of moisture. Many state and city record high temperatures set during the 1936 heat wave stood until the summer of 2012. Isn't that nuts?
That is insane.
Which to me you would think like wouldn't the 2012 heat wave have been worse, but apparently it wasn't overall.
Yeah.
Right?
So, it's
And the
interesting.
1936 heat wave followed one of the coldest winters on record. So this kind of
Some
keeps
really
with
extreme.
yeah, it's extreme
changes.
weather, right? Basically, moderate to extreme drought covered the entire continent. The dry and exposed soil contributed directly to the heat. So basically, there's so much dry and exposed soil that it sucks up the heat and then just keeps reheating everything, right?
Yeah.
It's like putting hot coals or hot rocks into a fire. Everything just
Yeah.
it's not good, right? As extreme heat entered the air by radiation and direct contact. In Steele, North Dakota, temperatures reached 121 degrees Fahrenheit, which remains North Dakota's record from 1936.
Wow.
In Ohio, temperatures reached 110, which nearly tied the previous record set in 1934.
What a horrible
Ugh.
time period.
Good gracious, who would want to live through this? It ended, the heat wave and the drought ended in September, though many states were still drier and warmer than average. Many farmers' summer harvests were destroyed. As many as 5,000 heat-related deaths were reported in the United States and 780 direct and 400 indirect deaths in Canada. That's half their population.
Wow. That's a freaking
780 people. That's got to be half their population.
Of
Many
what
people...
one?
Canada. Many people...
I said 780,000.
No,
I was like, what?
Many people suffered from heat stroke and heat exhaustion, particularly the elderly. and that's something that we'll probably be talking about today.
Their
I'm
bodies
guessing.
just can't handle it.
They're fragile.
They're already
weak,
wrinkled and-
fragile. They're
not in
senile.
my group.
No. Unlike today, air conditioning was in the early stages of development. I wouldn't want to live in a place with no air conditioning, in a world with no air conditioning. Just kill me.
I'm the same way.
Don't want to do it. Nope. I have no interest in that. Many of the deaths occurred.
Your wife would be like, "Oh, it's nice.
99 degrees inside. I don't need a blanket.
I need to turn the heater
That's
on."
nice. Yeah. I was going to say something, but I love you, baby. Many of the deaths occurred in high population density areas of Chicago, Detroit, St. Louis, Milwaukee, Cleveland, Toronto, and other urban areas, which is crazy that urban areas were hit worse with these heat waves, right?
It is weird.
Crop failure.
And that's still they still say that's a bigger threat.
Yep.
You know?
Corn and wheat prices rose really quickly. So, anyways, from this one heat wave, a lot of crazy things happened this year. And so I guess we just say that to preface, these things are issues that you have to think about. If they happen, it's not just like, oh, I got to turn the AC up.
Yeah.
Many other things could happen with that, right? And so talking about global warming or climate change specifically, the expected is a 4-degree increase by 2100 Celsius in extreme heat. So that doesn't seem like it's that much.
Yeah, it
Right,
doesn't.
but-
But it's enough to just
Overall, it jacks stuff up with.
Yeah.
I mean, everything is. It's a very delicate balance to keep things as they are, right? So let's talk about. I found a web. It's directly from NASA. So if you believe those dudes, if you know what I mean,
What's that?
They do say the Earth is round and all. But anyways, this is what they're saying about the things that would happen with this climate change within this 4-degree change. It's insane. Obviously, temperatures will continue to rise. We know that. Frost-free or growing seasons will increase. And this one I thought about, like, that can't be all bad, right?
Yeah.
The growing season increasing would be
You
good,
think,
right?
Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
Grow
the largest
potatoes.
the largest increases in the frost-free season, more than 8 weeks, are projected for the western U.S., particularly in high elevation and coastal areas. So we'll have 8 more weeks of growing in the western United States.
Wow.
Which to me, I mean, I guess that seems good, but is there going to be enough?
That's going to make the back side of the seed packages even more confusing.
Exactly. Who knows?
It's
Yeah.
like, wah. You
Yeah.
know, it's like, I don't know. I guess I'll just plant them and see what
Yeah.
happens.
More winter and spring precipitation is projected for the northern United States and less for the Southwest over
Oh,
this
so
century.
dry out.
Yeah, so it's kind of good for the northern United States. Very, very
So it
bad for the
changes the whole
Southwest.
dynamic
Yes.
of like how
things work, right?
you want those oranges? Nope, they're going to
no.
die.
Projections of future climate over the U.S. suggest that the recent trend towards increased heavy precipitation events will continue. This trend is projected to occur even in regions where total precipitation is expected to decrease, such as the Southwest. Droughts in the Southwest and heat waves everywhere are projected to become more intense, and cold waves less intense everywhere. Which that is kind of confusing because sometimes they say it's actually going to be worse.
Yeah,
so I don't know what to believe half the time. Some of these scientists need to get their facts straight. Summer temperatures are projected to continue rising, and a reduction of soil moisture, which exacerbates heat waves, is projected for much of the western and central U.S. in summer. By the end,
More sneezes and
bless
stuff.
you. By the end of this
Spread
century,
COVID everywhere.
that's funny. By the end of this century, what have been once in 20-year extreme heat days are projected to occur every 2 or 3 years over most of the nation. Yeah, hurricanes will become stronger and more intense.
That's good.
Yeah, you don't want hurricanes to be stronger and more intense. You want
No.
like orgasms to be stronger and more intense, not hurricanes, right?
Well, maybe you're into hurricanes.
Maybe you're into hurricanes.
That's going to be
Maybe that's a good thing. But I'm just saying, hurricane-associated storm intensity and rainfall rates are projected to increase as climate continues to warm. That's a bad
That's
news.
insane.
It's bad news. Sea levels will rise 1 to 8 feet. We don't know. We don't know. It's either going to be 1 foot or 8 foot. That's what they're saying.
I guess I'll build at 9 feet.
Yes, yeah.
Just to be
You're
safe.
safe to be at 9 feet. Global sea level has risen about 8 inches since reliable record keeping in 1880. Only 8 inches. I mean, that's a
I
lot.
thought the reliable.
Yeah.
They had idiots back before that. They weren't doing
Didn't know how to
right.
use a damn ruler. You know?
Waiting out there in the wrong spot.
Do I start at the end or the first tick? I don't know. It is projected to rise another 1 to 8 feet by 2100. This is a result of added water from melting land ice and the expansion of seawater as it warms. Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
In the next several decades, storm surges and high tides could combine with sea level rise and land subsidence to further increase flooding in many regions. So lots more flooding. The Arctic might become ice-free. No ice in the Arctic in the
Weird.
summer, which is crazy. But throughout the United States, the
Probably
effects
not
could
good.
be... So just think about this. Throughout the entire United States, reduced water supply, increased wildfires. Like, we need any more of those. Insect outbreaks is a big one, which is crazy.
That sounds
like,
horrible.
why? Is it because of the heat? I don't know.
Humid and
Yeah.
easier, I don't know.
Tree diseases.
Sweaty bodies.
Yeah. More tree diseases, apparently. Economic effects. Yeah. Health effects, decreased ag yields and flooding. Lots of
Tree diseases.
tree diseases, exactly. Extreme heat waves, we said that's a big thing. But because of extreme heat waves, because of this, there are some secondary effects that could happen. One of those is power outages. So extreme weather events are the main cause of power outages and a constant hazard for the nation's energy system. We just talked about Texas.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening.
Unless they get their shit together, we're gonna have this all the time,
Got it.
right?
Got it.
So if it keeps getting hotter, we're gonna keep having these issues, especially with power. And we know when power is gone, it's a bad deal for everybody.
It is.
And we said, like, especially for the elderly and those that rely on, medical devices and things like that, it's bad, man. So and they're saying that these power outages are going to be more frequent and they're going to last longer when they do happen. So that's a bad thing. Another bad thing from this is flooding. Obviously, we talked about the sea levels rising. As global warming continues to exacerbate sea level rise and extreme weather, our nation's floodplains are expected to grow by approximately 45%, which is nuts. And the IPCC noted in its special report on extremes, it is increasingly clear that climate change has detectably influenced several of the water-related variables that contribute to floods, such as rainfall and snowmelt. So it basically means
More of that.
more of this stuff, which is crazy. Heavier precipitation, more frequent and intense hurricanes, like we talked about. So this will directly contribute to food loss, price increases, inflation. All those things will come together because of this climate change. Obviously, this is what they're saying. I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm saying this is what a lot of the scientists.
Usually what we say happens, so.
Yeah. Climate change affects food production and availability, access, quality, utilization, and stability of food systems. Higher CO2 levels reduce the nutritional value of crops, which I didn't know, which is kind of crazy. Climate change and weather disasters such as...
Plants love CO2.
I thought they did too. I thought that's what they lived off of. They can lead to inflated prices for food. Because our food systems are increasingly dependent on one another. This means that more frequent and extreme events in one region could disrupt clusters of food systems. So
Value meal, gone.
yeah, no more. Yeah, that's bad.
That's $3 value meal now.
Exactly. Storms will increase in numbers, duration, and intensity. One of the biggest things that they fear is going to happen is climate migration.
Yeah.
Basically, it means you can't live in the Southwest anymore, possibly, right? I mean, that's what they're saying. I thought this was pretty interesting. So back in Phoenix, before AC, it was kind of crazy how they had to live there. Like, the population was
Yes, I remember seeing it like explode on
Yeah,
the map from the change.
yeah, because like basically Phoenix is where AC was like where it was invented and made
Just like
and
to
got big
make it
because
tolerable
it's so
to live in
damn
that
hot there.
freaking place.
Before AC, residents slumbered in screened outdoor rooms or on lawns. They wrapped themselves.
Slumbered or passed out?
I don't know. Yeah, they wrapped themselves in damp sheets because, like, when the breeze would come by,
Good
it
night,
would cool 'em
honey.
off.
You can roll yourself into a wet bed. For water beds were invented as well.
Exactly. Yeah, and they just sleep outside under the sprinkler. Probably is what was going on.
I went down there in September and, past the heat, and I just remember thinking, how does anyone live here?
I don't get it,
Like,
dude.
it just felt like you had a hot air dryer blowing on you all the time. It's like,
and
ugh.
that's going to get worse, and that could spread across different places that just aren't that hot right now, right? There were sprinkler brigades apparently in many neighborhoods where people would sleep outdoors.
All sucking on the
Yeah, and they would take turns hosing each other down. They called themselves the sprinkler brigades. Apparently, that's weird. Every summer, many wives and children abandon Phoenix and move to cool mountain locales. So widespread that the Santa Fe Railroad had a summer widowers train which departed Phoenix at 3 p.m. on Saturdays for husbands to visit their families in Prescott. Like basically their families were like, screw you, I don't care if your job is here, I'm moving somewhere else.
Yeah.
So they had a train that went back and forth so they could see them. Anyways, National Geographic states that up to 143 million people could be displaced by water scarcity and crop failure due to extreme heat and
Yeah.
global warming.
I believe it.
It's a bad deal, right?
It freaking sucks to live in the heat.
Yeah, so obviously heat and increased heat causes a lot of health problems, right?
Swass.
Swaz, yeah, I don't know if that's necessarily like a health problem. It's not comfortable for sure.
Fungal infections.
Yeah, there you
Crotchal
go. Yep.
area.
Injuries and fatalities from extreme weather will rise. Air pollution will increase and will obviously have a greater impact on respiratory illnesses and
Yeah.
things like that. They say the diseases like malaria, Lyme disease, West Nile, they're just going to get worse and worse, right? Water quality would become impacted, so waterborne diseases like cholera and Campylobacter, all those are going to get much, much worse. Malnutrition will increase. And because of these forced migrations, civil conflicts and mental health will all be negatively impacted.
I don't know how you can negatively impact mental health right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, how much further down can we go mental health wise, right?
Serious.
Yeah. A couple other things. The economy is going to be affected. It's going to put capitalism at risk. The theory is that we will have to confront climate change, and that will inevitably mean the end to cheap energy that has fueled economic expansion. That's scary,
That is
especially
scary.
for an area like we have where everything is cheap energy. That's the only reason why we are here,
Yep.
right? An economy built on consuming more and more will come to an end. And then civil unrest. Obviously, this will most likely become more and more prevalent as more and more of the issues we discussed before here because of climate change or get worse, right? Everybody's going to get pissed off. It's too hot.
It is.
I hate it here, right? Earth sucks.
It just like throws the whole balance
It does.
of life right now off.
It does.
And
So those are the things that will possibly arise because of global warming
Yeah.
and climate change.
yeah. And these heat wave things, like you were saying, despite the fact of, whatever you feel about climate or
Yes.
global warming, like they happen. I remember after watching the series Turn, about the Revolutionary War.
Yeah.
There was one big battle. Was it Battle of Monmouth? I don't know how you say it.
Monmouth?
Monmouth, yeah, that one. Yeah, they like half of the soldiers or something like that died because it was like 110 degrees
Oh, really?
fighting out.
my gosh.
In so like
And they had those
these,
big wool coats on.
yeah, these heat waves
Idiots.
happen. Their lead balls melted.
Yeah. My lead balls are melting.
But yeah, so it's like these happen in history, and
Yeah,
you have
for
to
sure.
kind of just be prepared for them. I wasn't prepared for this one that came. I was like, I'm not ready. I'm
Yeah.
not ready. It's too hot.
So hot, dude.
So yeah, some of the ways you can prepare beforehand to like get your home ready and then like your preps ready for this global warming change and the extreme heat.
Yeah, and the thing is, this doesn't necessarily have to be for global warming, right?
No.
It gets hot every year.
Yeah.
Every damn year.
Like every year, when the extremes come, when we hit January,
Yeah.
February, or when we hit July, well now May,
I know, yeah.
but like June, July, August, I'm always looking at ways to be more efficient with my home. I'm like, how do I stop this stupid freaking heat from
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
getting in or this cold? And so something that, we should all be looking at anyway
sure,
is
yeah.
just try to like make it more efficient. But obviously the number one thing with a heat wave is like water.
Yeah.
You can't go very far without water. It can't cool anything. Your body's going to shrivel up and die.
Yeah.
So you got to have a good water plan. The most important aspect about like heat waves and stuff is that you need to consume a little more water than you usually do. So if you've planned for the bare minimum of your survival of like, you're only going to drink 1 gallon. Yeah, think again when it's 110
Especially if you got to go outside and,
and
do
your
anything.
power's out.
Yeah.
Like you're going to be just drinking that water out of
Yeah.
every hole that you got in your body, pouring it all in.
That.
Turn upside down, pour it in your ball. But yeah, you're going to be consuming more water and
Yeah.
using it for other needs. Some ways that you can even cool yourself down is just a simple like little basin full of water you can dip your feet in.
Yeah.
That helps kind of cool body temperature and make you more comfortable. This is where the big water storage comes in really handy because it's either in a cooler place or you have it in a location that, because that's the first thing that gets cleaned out. You know, people are going right for the water bottles.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And if things go south and you lose power, like your water system is going to become contaminated. The water to your home, you know, may be shut off.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just always a fear of like the key to life of water. Like if you don't have access to it or you live in a place like we do, like what the Green River's probably the only thing, and that would probably dry up.
Yeah, man.
With a heat wave. So anyways, you've got to like structure your plan around
And don't
water.
get the smart water tap.
Yeah.
So they turn off your water. You guys can only drink 10 cups today.
Seriously. No, I'm saving on my bill.
Yeah. Worth it. Plus, I can turn my water on with an app at the sink.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Wash my hands, let me down.
Let me get the app on. Get that on. And it plays the song, happy birthday song, so I know how long I have to wash.
I'm surprised that isn't
I know, man.
happy birthday song like tap.
Yeah.
Push a button on top.
Dun, dun, dun.
So anyways, water is probably the big part of this whole plan. It always is in every survival plan. It's like you got to structure everything around water. As for food, whistled. As for food here, like popsicles, ice, all of your freezer and frozen goods, those things are going to be vital, but also are going to be the first to go once you lose your power. So you've got to go for those first. I go for popsicles every day.
For sure.
First thing.
Bomb pop now.
But like the frozen stuff, like cook those pizzas up.
Or just eat them frozen.
Yeah, seriously. I'd eat chicken nuggets frozen.
Really?
Yeah.
You've eaten them frozen?
I have as a kid. I
Oh,
probably
really?
would again today.
Man.
Nothing wrong with them.
My kids will eat like waffles frozen.
Really?
Yeah.
It's kind of good. Like, I don't know.
I don't know.
But you want to go through that stuff first because
Yeah.
it's going to spoil.
For sure.
And just on that topic, and I'll, like a little more in the health aspect, but like food illness is going to be way more common.
Yeah.
Because people aren't going to be able to regulate their temperatures. They don't know if their food's spoiled, how long their fridge has been off, if this stuff is spoiling quicker out on the cupboard, on the table. So yeah, you've got to consider that the foodborne illness is a lot more likely and what kind of meds to have for that.
Prepare for that, yeah.
Pepto. It's delicious and it helps.
I'd drink that all day.
Me too. Also, during like heat waves and hotter times, you want to eat smaller meals a little more often. It's actually a good thing for health anyway, instead
Screw
of eating
you.
like a big mass.
Like one big meal a day.
Yeah, because it just concentrates your body heat and on your tummy and stuff like that. But it's more, it's just easier to regulate your body temperature if you're doing that. Also, include those things with higher water content.
Yeah.
Watermelon all day.
Dude, man, after jiu-jitsu last night, I came home and I had some watermelon. It's like the best
It's
thing
so
after
good.
working out. It's the best.
The thing that's weird about watermelon, though, there's like a delay till it hits your bladder.
Yeah.
You're like
2 a.m. I'm
you
like,
ate
holy
like-
fudge.
That's what happens.
Crap.
So, it's so weird. You're like, oh, I ate like 6 slices. I'm good.
Yeah.
One. You're like, I can't even make it to the bathroom.
Yeah, just pain, man.
It
Straight
hurts
pain.
so bad. Can't pee fast enough. Just like, should I slip my bladder open?
Gonna rip it off. Coming out too fast.
But there are some higher water content foods that you can add.
Celery.
Yeah, yeah. It sucks and it's disgusting, but it has a lot of water.
Yeah.
And then your garden foods, if you're planting a garden, you want to go with things that are a little more drought resistant. So that you're not having to use the vital water to keep your plants alive.
Oh, sure.
You might be able to turn on your hose. That first 16 gallons is 700 degrees anyway.
Yeah, I know,
When
man.
you turn your hose on,
Scalding
like,
hot. Yeah.
burning through the cement. So anyways,
Steam coming off it, coming out the hose.
it's crazy how hot it gets in those hoses.
Spray the dog. Sorry.
Your kids, they're on the tramp screaming. You're like, just a
Scalding.
little water. Skin's being scalded.
Babies.
If you have a basement, like consider something like a root cellar or just hang out in your basement. It's
Dude,
really nice down there. That's all I do.
I love my
I
basement.
go straight to my basement.
Freaking love it. If my kids weren't down there, I'd be there all the time.
But really, it feels so nice in the summer.
Yeah.
If you can get a basement, dig it. Get it down
You
in
dig
there.
it?
You digging it. And then like
Life's a garden.
Kobe had mentioned, like prepare for bugs.
Ugh.
Like I think I've mentioned it a million times, but I remember being in Brazil and the power went out and the fan was like the only thing that was keeping mosquitoes off me. It was the longest night of my life because it was
really?
like humid because it rained, super hot, and the mosquitoes were just like inside the apartment. Just I think they just teleported through the walls.
F that noise, man.
So I'm like, yeah, I would pitch a tent in my living room
For sure.
and just literally
Yeah.
get away from those bugs. Learn how to use a solar oven.
Yeah.
Just save that energy, and you may only have that energy. But they're pretty cool.
I've been wanting to get one,
I
man.
wanted to learn how to you can build some little generic ones that actually work pretty good. But
Yeah.
anyways, a skill I think that would be important is learn how to do that. The other thing is like canning your foods. Even if it's too late and you haven't canned a lot, you could still, if you learned how to do it, hurry and bottle some of that frozen meat, and boil it with a propane cooker or something
Can
like
you
that.
bottle Totino's pizza?
Maybe. That sounds so good.
Can you imagine? It's like in a liquid.
I want to
inside.
vacuum
Maybe, yeah. I'm bottling pizzas today.
It's all going to go to waste. You
Yeah,
got to
well,
hurry and bottle it all.
Gotta keep it.
So some of the things just for your home, like I was saying,
Yeah.
try to make it more or less, more efficient, less grid dependent.
Sure, yeah.
So, and I've been like obsessed with this lately. I've been trying to put like reflective things in my windows. Even if you have to go full on ghetto, just use some tin foil
Yeah.
to just, reflect that sun out of your house to keep the temperatures low. Because they say don't rely on fans being your only way of cooling yourself down. Like
'Cause it
just a
doesn't work.
plain simple fan. And obviously if you lose power grid, you're going to be
Yeah.
SOL. Unless you get a bike fan, those little pedal ones,
Mm-hmm.
just stand next to it all day. But yeah, the reflective window things, they work really well. I found some from Lowe's, and they were a pain in the butt to install, but
Were they?
and they're still you can still see through the window. It's not like a full on. Anyways, it dropped the temperature in my kids' room really well because they're on the west side, so the sun just cooks it all
Yeah,
afternoon.
for sure.
And yeah, anyway, that works really well. Consider weatherproofing for unusual weather types. Like here, we don't ever get rain, but with those global changes, you may have to deal more with that type of, may become tropical here. You never know.
Never know.
We have, at the Dinosaur Museum, we used to have palm trees and stuff here.
That's what they
It's going
say.
to turn right back into the same thing. Dinosaurs going to spawn. Anyway, so yeah, just preparing for those other severe weather, and especially like flooding in an area like we are. It's like
Yeah.
probably
for
the
sure.
biggest threat for us with really extreme weather. Make sure you're more efficient with like weather stripping your doors. If you can see through it out into your yard, which I can in my
I know I
back
can't.
door.
I need to weather strip my back.
It's a pain to get you
Yeah.
put it in, the door won't shut,
Yeah.
pinches it, tears it off. You're just like, screw it.
Yeah, my dog pulls it off. Too.
Yeah, I just get that spray foam, and lock all your doors and seal them up.
Exactly. It's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Efficient.
But sometimes it's better just to keep some of the storm windows and protection up through the year if you're having all these weather changes. There's a lot of cool stuff that like hurricane cloth. I've never seen this.
Hurricane cloth?
Hurricane cloth.
Okay.
It looks almost like it's like a strong cloth that you just can bolt over your window instead of like putting up boards. You can nail it up or put a little grabber screw to hold it on there, but it just basically catches all the debris so it doesn't bust your window out.
Huh. Weird.
Can't see through it, but it looks pretty cool.
I just put a blanket out there. Can't you just do that?
Yeah, you probably basically could. But hurricane cloth is getting a lot of income from
I see.
people.
Okay.
Way
HurricaneCloth.com.
Just torn up pieces of like denim.
Yeah.
There you go. Storm panels, like having this stuff available. I've tried to that's why I keep telling my wife, it's why all these pieces of wood are laying around.
Yeah.
You could use it one day. But not only having like plywood and stuff to cover up your windows, they have like the corrugated metal or plastic so you can still see through it so you don't feel like you're in a zombie apocalypse.
I kind of like that, though.
I do too.
To be honest
That's
with
what
you.
I would do. Install like when you have if you have a window air conditioner, a lot of people just slap it in there and
Yeah.
they're losing all the like cold from the
Yeah.
sides. They don't insulate it properly. Just simple things to make it more efficient. Add insulation where it's needed. the thing that I just did recently is I was worried about a power outage because we have central air, which is the most amazing thing ever invented.
100%, yep.
Is to have that air conditioning. And we live in a really dry climate. And so I was like, if the power goes out, I want something to cool me in the house. And I ended up buying like a little fancier, not full on swamp cooler, because I have a little outlet that tells me how many watts it uses.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's using the pump to circulate the water through the little mesh thing, and the fan, it's like 78 watts.
Mm-hmm.
And your central air system uses like almost 10,000 watts to kick on. So it's like you're not going to have any form. Even the window ones are like 1,500 watts. So you can't run that off from most small generators, or especially one that you're going to have indoors. So I was like, I need something like this. So anyways, if you don't want to buy one, then you can build some cheaper ones. I put up a TikTok video of I just bought like a regular cooler and cut a hole in it, put a 4-inch PVC elbow, so that you can kind of redirect your air, and then cut a fan in the other side.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And again, it runs on hardly any power, and it would run on a battery for most of the night. And yeah, it's not going to cool your whole house, but to have that cooler air, you stick some cold items in there and it blows across them, you're going to have a lot more.
For sure.
You're going to enjoy that heat wave a lot more than most people. And there's a lot of different really creative ways. You just use a 5-gallon bucket with a fan on top and cut holes in the sides, fill it full of water. One of the ones I want to build is like a box fan, and you can buy from just your regular like Lowe's or Home Depot copper coiling. Yeah. And then you just circulate water through it, and so the fan's blowing across it. Anyways, you got to think about ways that aren't going to use much energy and keep you cool, because I feel like the power grid is the most susceptible
for sure
during these like extreme storms.
Absolutely, yep.
And then there's some, like if you want to get super creative and you're building a home or something like that, there's things called earth tubes.
Never heard of that.
I haven't either. I'm not going to talk about it.
Okay.
No, basically you're using ground, the
cool air,
the very mild temperatures of the ground to cool your home. It almost acts like you've been in a cave. You have that cool air that blows out.
Yeah.
So you just run an empty PVC tube like 6 feet deep, and depending on your area, but if you run it like 100 feet and just run the empty tube hole, and then you have a fan blow through, it'll cool down to like it's blowing like 70 to 50 degrees.
Huh. Interesting.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's way cool.
And there's a lot of things about the food storage too. Is they even have like systems where you can have like drinks down in the ground.
Oh yeah, I've seen those. Yeah.
I think they're like all beer.
Yeah, every one of them is a.
But you can make like an earth cooler where you just dig down like 6 feet where it starts to really get cool in most areas, and you can store a ton of stuff down there and keep it good without having to use any energy. As for the health, like Kobe was saying, you got a lot of risks with heat stroke and all that stuff, but you've got like food poisoning. You got to deal with contaminated water supplies, insects, being vectors, spreading diseases and things like that. So your health is probably one of the more important things to kind of focus on during
and
this.
Especially
obviously.
if you're obese or if you are elderly.
Yeah.
Those, in the heat, it's just no bueno.
No.
At all. And if you're fat and old,
yeah, and there's a whole printout of like medications and the changes they cause to your body, like thermal regulation.
Oh, really?
It's like you take an antihistamine, it's going to mess up your temperature regulation a little bit, and blood pressure medicines do that.
Yeah.
So again, like I've always stressed, you need to know what you take and what it does. Like it drives me nuts.
I take a blue and a yellow.
Yeah. I don't know. Look at my chart. I'm like, you're dead. You're going to die.
Exactly.
Anyways, know your meds and know like some of the side effects. And, there's some things that are going to cause you to feel maybe cooler than you really are. Your body temperature's like 100 and you feel fine. But the other thing, avoid alcohol. It messes with your thermal regulation. Sugary drinks.
What'd you say?
Faster. I know. It says 0 sugar.
Yeah.
We're okay.
That's good.
But the faster you dehydrate, the more dead you become.
That's so true. That's science.
Yeah, that's straight out of the medical book. First page.
First page. That's what they say.
And then you're obviously not going to completely avoid going outside.
No, you
if you
can't.
have to do things, if you're going out to pick from the garden or whatever, use the buddy system.
Dude, it's like
Send your
it's funny
wife
that
out
you say
90% of the time.
Yeah.
Send yourself out 10%.
Anytime we go to Vegas, I'm like trying everything I can not to go outside. Do you know what I mean? It's so hot.
Yeah.
Like I can't do it. Like we'll get on the strip and I'll just walk through hotels so I don't have to go outside.
I know.
That's how I feel when it gets hot like
You're
that.
like brushed up against the wall to stay in the shade.
Yeah, I seriously like anything I can do to avoid heat. I'm so
is,
bad in
it's
heat. Dude.
horrible.
I'm a bad person when heat is involved. Like I really am. Like I become mean.
That's what I was
I become less smart. I'm not very funny.
It turns you into like
I'm like Incredible Hulk.
caveman.
I really am. It's like I guess why I can't live in a hot place. My wife's like he'll beat me. And it's probably true. I probably would.
It is such an awkward or
Dude.
such an uncomfortable feeling.
It
I'd
is.
rather freeze to death,
100%.
cook to death. No, thank you.
Let me be cold.
Yeah.
I don't care.
And then on like the other really important thing is having your communications. You want to listen to the NOAA because you want to know when this heat wave and what the changes are coming. How long you're going to have to hold out.
Yeah.
Because you may not have the old television working and
Maybe not.
internets.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then it's good to recognize, and I'll talk about this later in the medical tip of signs of heat illness.
Yeah.
What the severity is and all that. If your home is just, you're sweating to death, you're dying in there, and you're lost power, consider a shelter.
Yeah.
And I think Kobe mentioned this before. You just text shelter in your zip code, and it'll tell you where the nearest shelter is and wherever you're at. And I just mentioned this real quick. If you're moving, if you're going to buy a home, if you're looking at these different, consider these different aspects of changes with weather. I was telling Kobe about my house being cooked on the west side because the whole back side and all my windows face the west.
Exactly.
And his is set up to where his front and back are facing north and south. And you don't have many windows on the south side.
The south side has 2 windows.
So it's it makes a huge difference with heat. My house is on fire all the time. So those are just basic things to consider if you're building or if you're moving to a home. And then if you're going to move into coastal cities, what are the risks? You want to be 9 feet.
Yeah,
above.
9 feet is a magic number.
And then, dry, deserty locations, are they ones that you can live in when you lose power? If that's one reason I don't think I could ever move to Phoenix because I feel like as soon as the power's out, I'm just going to kill myself.
Yeah. Or other people.
And if you're moving into Tornado Alley, and we've talked about this with all your other prepare for the disasters near you or what maybe these extreme weathers can change. And then sanitation's super important. One website I looked at made it a pretty important thing of having a digital thermometer that you can put in your fridge. Because you just don't know when the power's out how cold it is or how long it's been that way and what the current temperature is. So ways to kind of monitor that are helpful. And then like we were talking about with your meds and stuff, just have those to counter some different illnesses. You want to have entertainment. You're going to be stuck indoors, avoiding the heat. So get into those board games, find card games, anything to kind of build morale because you're going to have to outlast this or die.
Water balloons, maybe?
Right.
I don't know.
Anything. Swimming in the tub, indoor pool.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do. Other aspects outside of like preparing your home and preparing your food and supplies and all that.
Yeah, it's kind of like the secondary effects of these things, right?
Yeah. So if you're under this heat wave for a longer period or whatever, like Kobe said, when people are hot and bothered, you lose your freaking mind.
Yeah.
You become pissed and angry, especially if there's like scarcity of food and water.
Oh
my
gosh.
You just turn into like a whole different species.
I'll bet you if we looked at, maybe people already have, if you look at statistics on like violence and things like that during heat waves, I'll bet you it goes up tremendously.
It has to be.
Like domestic
in the
violence.
cold, you're like, screw that.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna go out there.
I'm just gonna
In the heat, you're like, I'm already miserable.
Yep.
And I hate everybody.
Yep.
And myself. And then you just like So civil unrest is like it's
gonna
just
happen.
like putting civil unrest in the oven.
Exactly.
It's gonna like
gonna
swell.
cook.
It's gonna get hot and ready.
Gonna get all puffy.
But seriously, like civil unrest is definitely going to happen if there's a prolonged heat wave and there's all these effects of food scarcity. People don't have water because they didn't prepare. It's just going to go haywire. And so you're going to end up dealing with like riots and people looting and rioting, and it's just going to be kind of a scary deal. And that's definitely the more extreme side.
Yeah.
Hopefully things, the heat wave only lasts 5 days, but in a long, drawn out heat wave that could definitely happen and you lose power, people are going to lose their minds.
And it's obviously it's happening. I mean, it's happened.
Yeah.
I mean, it happened
Doesn't
in
take
the
much
winter.
for people to lose their minds
Doesn't
already.
take much.
Say that every
I
episode.
know, dude.
So yeah, home defense systems we talked
Yeah.
about. Like, go look at other podcasts. We talked about this and having some self defense if you have to defend yourself. That always scares me because trying to wrestle somebody in the hot and you're not fit, I'm terrified about it. All night I sweat about it.
Me too.
Kobe's at least been challenging himself and
It was so hot.
increasing his endurance.
It was so hot in that gym last night. I was
I'll
dead.
just call for him. This guy's being a dick. I want you to roll with him.
Hey, come on.
Kobe, we got some.
We got somebody over here being a dick to me.
But yeah, keeping your stuff, keeping your home safe. If you have to go into town to get whatever little supplies may be left, you
Yeah.
got to think about having some self-defense skills.
You do.
And then just martial law may kick into effect.
Yeah.
Like when riots get worse, they know that when food and all that is low and people can't afford it and get it, they know that people are just going to go freaking nuts.
Yeah.
So the only thing that they might do is introduce martial law. Stay in your homes. We're going to turn your heat up and, be careful.
Exactly.
So martial law is always super interesting to talk about.
It is.
And I think something like this could easily push it into that.
Absolutely. I agree.
One thing that really pushed me over the top, COVID-19.
I hate it.
It's the worst.
I hate COVID.
Brought so many challenges. And we have to rely on heavy tech, go online, do our schooling.
I wonder if you could put Surfshark on your thermostat.
Oh, yeah. You probably could in a way because
Yeah.
I know you can add Surfshark
router.
VPN to your router. I still need to try that and tell you how it works
Yeah, you
out
do.
because Surfshark is a virtual private network that can protect all of your devices.
For sure.
Your thermostats, your internets from your phone, your computers, your TVs, your
Refrigerator.
CPAP machine, all that stuff that
Yeah.
goes on the internet. It's vulnerable. So, and maybe you just want to shop for something cool that doesn't exist on Amazon. And you're going to some shady websites.
Black market.
Yeah. Just use Surfshark VPN, select your server, go on there, and you're basically gray, man. This is seriously like the easiest way to protect yourself online. And it only costs you, with our code, Casual Preppers, you get 83% off, and it's less than $60 for 27 months.
That's cheap.
I dare you to go find a better one out there.
Dare you.
The thing that's nice, you know what this is, and my explanations confuse you, which is understandable. One subscription will cover all your devices, and you get 30 days
to rule them all.
You can just try it on whatever device, and 30 days if you don't like it, and get your money back.
It's a mooey
I'm
days.
telling you, go get Surfshark. Try it out. It's the best deal for a VPN, and you'll love it. You'll just want to connect to it all the time.
I agree. Hey, Cam. So we've talked about, extreme weather. When you're bugging in, what are you going to do? That type of thing. But what if you have to bug out? What are some things to think about in that situation? Because it's
How miserable is this going to be?
It's going to be super miserable.
Yeah.
So there's just a couple of things that you can think about for extreme heat bugging out. There's not much
Bug
you
out
can
naked.
do. There's really not much you can do. You can think about a couple of things. One thing is
That's the thing too. Is like you would think, and I just mentioned in that, and I'm sure you'll talk about it. But being naked isn't the best thing to do.
It's really not.
You're
No.
like, I don't want any clothes on me.
Yeah.
And people do shed their clothes, and that's actually
not the best
Not
thing to
the
do.
best thing to do.
So really what you want to do is cover up all your skin. But you want to do it in a way that is smart. So light colors.
sweaters,
Yeah, sweaters. Yeah, anything like puffy.
overalls.
Yeah, overalls, things like that. But no, you want long sleeves, but you want to pick light colors, and you want to have fabrics that breathe and wick away moisture, right? That's what you want. So you think you want to be in like a short sleeve tank top and in like, little tiny cut off jeans or something like that. But no, you want to actually cover that up because the sun is going to
Jorts.
Yeah,
Jorts
the
all day.
sun is going to beat down on you. It's going to be bad. So for shirts, long sleeve, light colors, breathable fabrics. For pants, kind of the same thing. Loose fitting, light colors, but you also want to get pants that have, maybe the ones that you can zip out the bottoms if you have to, just in
what
case.
out?
Huh?
Zip what out?
No, zip out so you can turn them into shorts if needed.
Yeah.
Right. But you also want to get stuff.
Bug out with capris. They need tactical capris.
I'll bet you they have 'em.
I guarantee.
I
it.
guarantee
They have a
have 'em.
cummerbund. I already looked that
A
up.
tactical cummerbund.
Uh-huh.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to get one of those.
It's like military, but
you never know when you're at a wedding or something. You know what's gonna happen. But
anybody's gonna get married soon. I highly suggest a tactical cummerbund.
yeah, maybe Off the Grid Surplus can get one
That'd be
made for
so
us.
sweet.
Yeah, but pants that also have
I wear it in church like every Sunday.
cummerbund in church.
Got a bunch of pocket knives and a
That would
flashlight.
be awesome, actually. So your pants that have multiple pockets, obviously with Velcro and zipper flaps, you can secure that gear and stuff. You got to get a hat. You got to have a hat because you want to keep the sun off the top of your head, especially if you're like me and you're bald. You're starting to go bald,
Balding, me too.
and that sun is baking down on you. That skin on the top of your head. That's bad news.
Yeah.
And then you also want to keep the sun off your face, and then sunglasses. This is, I think, something that people
It's huge.
overlook, dude.
Really.
My eyes are so sensitive in the sun. Like if I go outside, boom, I've got sunglasses on.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to look cool. I really just my eyes need sunglasses.
Mine, yeah.
So you have maybe it's in your bug out.
They hurt.
My eyes are
Owie.
owie, hurty eyes.
I could stare at the sun maybe 5 minutes without sunglasses, but when I put them on,
Exactly. But I don't know if it's a bad idea to put it either in your bug out bag or have it somewhere that well, if I'm bugging out and it's hot like that. Because even in the winter, you're going to want sunglasses because that sun
Blinding
reflects off.
freaking-
You know what I mean? So think about that. And then water becomes increasingly important during a bug out in this scenario.
try to have situational awareness when you have no sunglasses on.
Exactly.
It's blasting you in the face.
Good luck. Water. You have to have water on hand in your bug out bag, and then you have to have several ways to procure water because, boy, you don't know. In extreme heat, in global warming, in climate change, you don't know what's going to be happening. Also,
Yeah, that creek that you think is going to be full of water
might not
probably
be.
dried up.
Yeah. Having a rehydration mix of some sort with you would probably not be a bad idea, right?
Coca-Cola,
Yeah.
Pepsi.
Mm-hmm. Sugar. Just straight sugar drinks. That's the
Yeah.
best.
Who
No,
was it that just sent us those little packs? They were in one of the subscription box. Was it Tac Pack?
I don't know.
Remember you got little packets full of rehydration salts?
I don't remember that.
It's like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah,
sweet.
yeah.
Threw them in my med kit.
Yeah, those are great to have, or you can make your own. Cam's told us about those back in the day.
Yeah. It's a teaspoon of something and
yep.
another teaspoon.
Yep. Or and then it's also good to think about maybe having just a water bladder in your pack because a lot of times you're bugging out, you're hiking long distances, and you've got your bottle, so you got to take off your pack.
It
get
is,
your
like,
bottle.
I just used one this last weekend on a hike, and I'm like, why don't I use these more?
They're nice.
Because it just makes it,
Yeah.
it gives you more room, too.
You just
'cause
turn
it
your
just
head,
spreads that.
suck that down, and you're good to go, man.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I have that pressurized one, too, so you're like,
Squirt people.
Yeah.
That's nice.
even better.
Yeah, so think about that. That becomes more and more important in these situations. And the last thing I would talk about is sunscreen. Like that's something that you would forget too. Like if
Yeah,
you have
that's
any
true.
exposed, like your face, you don't want it to get freaking fried. You know, there's nothing worse than having like horrible sunburns.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and especially in a situation like this. So think about having some sunscreen in your bug out bag or your EDC kit or wherever it might be.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna need it, dude.
Yeah.
So those are just a few other things to think about when it comes to
No,
bugging
yeah, I think
out.
it's great.
Yeah.
Like I like gear. It's like wearing clothes is so great. I love it.
Yeah.
But no, like you think with long sleeves you're just gonna cook to death. But
Yeah.
seriously, the off the grid stuff.
Yeah.
Like
It's great.
It breathes so well.
Yep.
Like, look at this big old gap.
Yeah.
Big old gap in the back of this.
And it has like breathable areas.
Yeah.
And it's-
So
picking your clothes wisely is a good thing.
right.
You know?
So you know the Muslim thobe or like the big rope things.
Yeah.
I always thought it was like. I know there's religious stuff behind it,
Mhm.
but it's because of those areas they live. Like it's like one of the better ways to wick
keep
off
the
the
heat.
heat, you know, or
Uh-huh.
in the sweat.
And you got some breeze.
Imagine tactically
bottom
in
breeze.
the United States crawling up the mountain with one of those on in a backpack.
I can't.
You are
imagine.
not a target at all.
No, it'd be a bad deal.
But they do. I think they're really good. That's it's really good for high heat.
And they're always white.
Yeah. Yep. So, but that I was thinking like, imagine just bugging out in Vernal with one of those on,
That'd be
wearing
bad,
a turban.
No, it would not be
just
good.
trying to get away from the heat.
Just because of the heat, guys.
I always knew you were into some stuff that we don't support. But yeah, so anyway, get yourself a thobe.
Yeah, for sure.
But the other thing, and this is just real basic stuff, is your bug out location. We haven't talked about this in quite a while.
Mm-mm.
But when you're setting up that location, or things to consider in that location is, we always talk about like one of the most important things when you're considering your location is like, where is the nearest water supply?
Yeah.
And is that water supply one that'll last, because there's a ton in the mountains that just dry up, and you have these major heat waves, or the like Dry Fork, we have a river that we always like to go up, and it's already bone dry.
Yeah,
and
half
so
the
it's
year
like
it's just not
things
there.
that you're just totally used to or expect to use may not be there. So you have to be a little bit more creative too in like setting up a rain catchment, anything for runoff, so that you have this water in your bug out location. Natural shade, you don't want to just stick it on the top of a rock in the middle of the freaking desert.
For sure, yeah.
You want to use natural shade, trees, even near a cave, so you can keep cool or get out of the heat, something like that. Obviously, I just went and explored a cave this last weekend, so I'm like, man, I would be in a cave like every day.
Well,
So-
I've thought about that seriously.
it's kind of creepy because that's your one entrance, unless you can find another one.
Unless there's another one.
unless
It's your
there's-
one entrance, unless there's another one.
There's two, and
Unless there's two, and maybe there's three.
but yeah, like it's like such a nice temperature in there.
It is, yeah.
But yeah, consider these locations of utilizing
God's basement.
Yeah,
That's what I call it.
I've never heard that.
I just came up with
That's
it.
a great one.
Yeah, God's basement.
Cliffs. Try to avoid the sun as much as possible wherever you're going to put your bug out location.
Yeah.
It makes a big difference.
For
and
sure.
then energy consumption. How are you going to stay cool? How are you going to power things? You still want to be able to access, if you're completely in the shade, then your solar power stuff's going to be toast. Not going to work as well.
Can't
anyway.
make toast.
You're screwed.
Yeah.
You're just freaking screwed. So anyways, I mean, I didn't have a lot on the fact, but you have to consider like where maybe you have your bug out location right now. Like I know a location that I would probably use, and thinking, if we had a really bad long-term heat wave or something, I probably would have to change my plan completely, because it would just get cooked. It'd probably melted by the time I got to it. It's made out of just like cardboard fog.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. It says bug out location on it. Got a little
Sounds
sign
nice.
out front.
Sounds nice.
Cam's bug out location. Don't trespass. But anyways, yeah. So if you're having to deal with all these weather changes, consider if you're getting out of Dodge up into the mountains, you're still going to have a different plan to deal with it up there.
I like it.
The end. I say these things.
Yeah, so
In my-
that is as good as we could do with either global warming or heat waves.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of all comes into the same thing, but there's a lot to it.
Yeah.
There's a lot to it.
That Mama 2's like, I'm done.
I'm done.
And they did pretty good until this episode.
Yeah.
At least I got my name read.
That's right. Today's podcast is brought to you by TacPack, the only monthly tactical subscription box with useful professional grade stuff inside. Use our code CASUALPREPPERS and get a free separate bag sent of EDC gear along with your first month's TacPack. Guess what? We have a TacPack here to take a look at. So why don't we do it as we do this? What do you think, Cameron? So here is the latest TacPack. We just got it in the mail the other day.
They're getting cheaper with their TacPack
I
card.
don't know what happened there. It got all ripped up. The first item is really cool. The Active Ear Pro. So this is some ear.
Pro, I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's
Where is it?
it's ear protection for shooting guns. It's right there. You have it in your hand.
Is it this?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yep. It's in your hand. Stop looking at that stuff.
No, I'm trying to make sure I know what I'm looking at before you say it.
So it's always nice to have these for the range when you're out shooting. You know what I mean? Keeps your ears
Those
all.
are actually pretty nice. I'm gonna put them on the rest of the night.
Yeah.
Day.
The next thing is the Reptilia CQG grip. So lots of grips for your guns. This one right here, Reptilia. Yep.
I'm having a hard time right now.
Yeah, he's not the best at this.
Well, Kobe's
Heat-
reading it. So
Heat wave ain't
That's all
working.
you're hearing anyway.
So that's
I've been out in the sun all day.
Yeah, I know.
Brain's hurting.
And then we have the Hogue
that's
trigger
pretty nice.
guard. So that gives you a little bit more space for your fat fingers in there.
Yeah.
Right? Then we have the Uncommon Valor Train Hard laces. These are some fancy tactical laces for your breakthrough strength of 750 pounds. Boom!
Says 1,000-pound tensile strength.
Well, maybe that's right. Never
Flame
wrong on here.
resistant. Shoes burn. Your body will burn right out of your boots.
Flame retardant. So
Cool.
that's good. Yeah, so that's good stuff there. Light and fire starter cans, and it smells delicious. It smells like citronella. We were
I want
smelling
to
it
open
earlier,
that
weren't
and
we?
sprinkle it in my truck.
Yeah.
Smells so
Then we
good.
have the Fiber Light Mini Ferro Rod, and then we got some stickers.
I didn't see the ferro rod.
It's in there somewhere.
Oh, there it is. Found it.
So that's Tac Pack.
That's
for
a
this
lot
month.
of stuff.
Good stuff. Yeah,
$50
$50.
for $50 freaking bucks.
Yeah,
I still think
there's.
they're thieves from somebody,
Yeah, it's organized
but
crime.
not from you.
No, you're reaping the benefits.
Yep.
And then we actually Grim Survival, right, sent us a few things, which was really nice of them. They have a new item that's hitting their Kickstarter, I think at the end of this month, and it's called the I can't remember what it's at. It's those little sleeves there.
Here's the sleeves.
It's right here. It is called the Bandit. The Bandit. It's an EDC expansion band and it's a gear organizer. Basically, it's kind of like a
More ways to strap more gear to you.
exactly, yeah. You can put it around like different survival tins or on like knife sheaths and stuff, and it has like almost like molly webbing on it.
That's
It's kind of
pretty
cool.
cool.
Yeah. Or put it around your you know what.
I was gonna say that. Slip it on your unit.
Yeah, slip it on
Carry
your unit.
a few more things.
Yeah, a couple things on there. So
Any appendage you
Yeah.
want to just maximize.
that's
all the
from
carrying.
Grim Workshop. So that was nice of them to send that out. Yeah, and that's just an extra thing they sent too. I
It's
don't
a
know.
little
It's a survival
pretty cool.
card.
It's an axe card.
Yeah, but it's a little axe head, little hatchet head kind of
Crazy.
thing.
I'm putting that in my wallet.
Yeah, he's gonna put that
Go
in
right
as well.
through TSA with that.
Yeah, good luck.
It's time for the quick and dirty medical tip.
You want to mention the other things? Dan?
No, well, we already did, I think, one
Did
day.
we? The bags? Oh, I think we did the sleeves. Okay, so real quick, like I said, important to be able to recognize heat-related illnesses because a lot of weird symptoms. You're just like, oh, must be my stomach, and it's actually that you've been in the heat too long.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe you're in heat right now. We don't know. Heat cramps. So you get like spasms, muscular pain, and it just feels like you're somewhat dehydrated. It's like, I don't know why. I just feel so crappy. But
Heat
it's-
cramps.
Yeah. So treatment's easy. Get to a cool place. Rest, comfortable position. Lightly stretch the affected muscle and gently massage the area.
Oh,
and then
hello.
Electrolyte containing
Hey,
fluid.
baby, I got some heat cramps.
So Gatorade or something like that. Yeah. Baby. Cramping
You're
real
supposed to
bad.
lightly rub. What did it say? I can't-
I'd say this is what I just do all Saturday. I'm like,
Is it?
need to get in a comfortable position.
Yeah.
Cooler place.
Mhm.
Got heat cramps, baby. Got heat cramps. Heat exhaustion. So heat exhaustion, heat stroke can have some like blended symptoms. So it gets a little bit hard to determine which one's more
Does it matter when it comes down to it?
Honestly, no, unless like the heat stroke will move into like basically losing consciousness.
Heat death.
That's the bottom line.
Yes, heat stroke to heat death.
So obviously, heat exhaustion is more severe than heat
Yeah.
cramps. It affects athletes, firefighters, construction workers, factory workers, people just out in the sun all
Oh,
day.
it doesn't
Heavy
affect me.
clothes. No, yeah, we're not. So if you're one of those, I've got
Listen.
I've got stuff for you.
Yeah.
Heat exhaustion symptoms include signs of heat exhaustion include cool, moist, pale, ashen, or flushed skin. So it's just like it doesn't feel super hot or red and
Yeah.
everything like that. Headache, nausea, dizziness, weakness, exhaustion. So most of us feel this way every day.
So that sounds
So
normal.
if that it gets worse and it's hot, or you're in the month of June or July or August, then you're probably in heat exhaustion.
Might just be you're an American, or it could be it's hot outside.
So true. I had read something about like some German guy wrote this article about how we rely so much on AC, and he thinks it's like super bad for your health and like
F that noise.
I know.
Germans,
By
you
the
can't
way, we
trust
won World War II.
They're my people. You just can't trust them. All right? They can make cars. That's about it.
They surely
They
can.
got a good chocolate cake.
They do. Yeah.
Some pancakes are pretty good. They got.
They got some good stuff.
That's about it.
Do pretty good,
Yeah.
I guess. So what do you do when you're having heat exhaustion? Remove or loosen as
clothing.
much clothing as possible and apply cool, wet cloths or towels. That was one other thing I didn't mention, like soaking a towel and wearing it around your head if you have to do some work outside.
I thought you told me that was
Turban.
dangerous.
The turban, yeah. But yeah, fanning or spraying the person with water can help. And then small amounts of fluids. You don't want to just drink all this right now. Given small amounts of a commercial sports drink. Like Gatorade is good. It's not the best. And it can be actually bad if you're just doing solely that because there's sugar and all that stuff in it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, really, this is where something like Pedialyte and the little salt packet, the rehydration salt packets are so important because they are just way more efficient at getting you back to, homeostasis. And it says you want to give about 4 ounces of fluid every 15 minutes. So you're pushing it, but not like super fast. And if they don't get better, then you probably should take them to the hospital.
All right.
Heat stroke. This is life-threatening. And if you've ignored all those symptoms above.
Probably will.
Getting a headache out in the sun, you're getting a little dizzy, and you're pushing it too far. And this one is different in that your body temperature is so high, your skin does become more reddish and flushed. Your consciousness, like your slurred speech, you're acting funny. You may start vomiting, have seizures.
Sounds like a podcast host.
Sound like it. I slur speech. I've had heat stroke since the beginning of this podcast.
right.
Been treated for it every day. And this is life-threatening. Like the simple things you can do is rapidly cool the body. I mean, you want to submerge somebody up to the neck, not all the way underwater.
Stand there for 10 minutes.
You want to cool the entire body.
What happened?
Just not the brain and the mouth.
Looks like he drowned. No, he had heat stroke.
He's coming out of it.
He had heat stroke. That's how he died.
We'll get him cooled and then we'll resuscitate him. Or just like continuously douse them with water. So waterboard them. I hope people are listening to all this. You got to be following directions here. But no, like it is good to completely submerge somebody's body in cool water. It doesn't need to be ice. Just make sure it's colder water. And then keep their head above that water. Sponge the person. Sometimes you can just get a sponge bath. But just like try and cool the body as fast as you can, or, in all areas. You can even, to the extreme, cover a person in bags of ice. Obviously not directly on their skin because it'll cause frostbite.
Yeah.
But like put a towel over them, cover them in ice. So you want to cool the body temperature as fast as possible.
Iceman.
Yeah. And then measure the person's body temperature. If it's below 60, they're dead. Just don't even bother. Just keep cooling him.
Just keep cooling him. See how low you can get it. See if you can get the world record. Send it in.
Texas ain't going to adjust this.
Yeah, good luck.
Apply the rapid cooling methods for 20 minutes until the person's condition improves.
Okay.
Or they die. Nah,
They're either going to live or die.
The worst tips ever. But really,
live or die.
Usually the heat exhaustion, just the basics of that is just like when you start feeling like crap and you're outside, that's heat exhaustion.
Every time I go
when
outside.
you get like, pass out or you're having confusion and all that stuff, it's usually heat stroke, and that needs immediate body cooling. There, I just summified it. I'm having heat stroke.
That's awesome.
Anyways, you
That's
probably,
good.
I don't know that helped at all. I
It
joked
did.
around too much. I do it all day long.
Asterisk.
You
This
got
is not-
cancer? Oh, guess what?
This is not medical advice.
Yeah.
By the
So
way.
there you go.
Yeah.
Enjoy
That's
that.
it. Thanks, guys, for listening. We appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe, follow, like, all those things.
Get a tattoo.
Get
of
a
it.
yeah.
Cash preppers.
Send it to your friend, to your grandmas, and your uncles, and stay survived.